Mets, baby. We got a couple of different things here to talk about with the Mets right now. Um, let's start with whether we're off the ledge after this past weekend. I doubt it, but so the Mets they take 2 out of 3 from the Mariners over the weekend. I mentioned that they played on the Little League Classic game yesterday in that fucking awful ballpark. Jesus, I'm telling you, I'm convinced that Rodriguez dropped those balls because the lighting was fucked. There's no way. I can't think of any other reason why he would have dropped those two fly balls. Anyway, so they do that after taking 2 of 3 from the after losing 2 of 3 from the Braves. I will say this, and you guys can agree, disagree, whatever. I think the thing that stood out with these last 2 wins, especially Saturday, was that I felt like they were like their cleanest wins in a while. And Larry actually made that point to me because him and I went to the game on Saturday. Um, like Saturday was a clean win, right? The pitching was good. They got the clutch hits when they needed them. They didn't make any errors. Nobody fucked up on the bases. Whatever. Sunday was besides like Lindor. I don't know what the hell he was doing on that line drive that he misplayed, but I felt like they needed those two games. So my question to you guys, and I'll go to Lee J first on this one. How are you feeling after this past weekend with taking 2 out of 3 from a good team? I mean, let's face it, the Mariners, they can hit, as we saw on Friday night.
The same. I'm not moved one way or another by this. I think the Mariners are one of those smoke and mirror teams. I don't believe in them.
Mm,
I don't. I think they're fugazi. Um, and I don't usually say this because you don't apologize for wins no matter what. And the only reason I'm saying this is because it's toward the end of the year. I don't want to see you beat bad teams. I want to see you put a good winning streak together against good teams. And whether they're a good team or not, they're a thorn in your side. Atlanta needs to be included in that.
I
Until
agree.
they do that, these last few weeks, I don't care what they do because they could go right back to shitting the bed. Because you know what good teams don't. You know what good teams don't do, especially when they're a World Series contender. They don't go on 12 out of 14 losing streaks and then win 3 and then do another 14 out of 15 game losing streak.
Hmm.
These are things you don't do. You don't have more than one of these during the season if you're a contending World Series team. So until that happens for me, I don't care what they do against the Mariners. I don't care what they do against the Nationals. I don't care. I want to see them against the Braves. They're not good, but like I said, like Eric always says, the Braves are the thorn in the Mets side, no matter bad, good, or indifferent. And then put it together a good 2 out of 3 against winning teams that are going to be in the playoffs and that you're going to see. So we could see kind of what you're going to give us come playoff time if they make it.
Hmm.
That's where I stand.
Eric.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everything you said. It hasn't. The fact that they won 2 out of 3, yes, it's a step in the right direction. You're beating a team that's probably gonna make the playoffs. So the fact that they won 2 out of 3 is a good thing, but it's still is like Lee J said. You got 3 against the Nationals, 3 against the Atlanta Braves over here,
In
um,
Atlanta, right.
in
Yeah.
Atlanta, which
That's
is a
the important thing.
house of freaking horrors, man. But you know what? A good team will go 5-1. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? A good
Exactly.
team will go
Sweep the
five and
Nationals.
one.
There's no
Yeah,
2 out of 3 against the Nationals. Two out
yeah,
of three against the. I agree with you 100%. 5-1.
yeah. No, I mean, and then you sweep the Nationals. Maybe I think about going to a game this week. Maybe because they've taken my money way too many times, and I've seen garbage. So, yeah, it just is a step in the right direction. But I'm not going to get all excited over it. Like I said, give me 5-1, and then maybe we'll talk next week.
I think I'll be, and I kind of texted this to Lee J tongue in cheek yesterday. Well, it was to the group text with Danny, myself, and Lee J and Caesar. But you know what? Fucking sweep the Nationals this week. The Mariners are going to be in Philadelphia. Maybe the Mariners take 2 out of 3. Right? You get yourself right back in the division race. But then, like Lee J said, you got to take 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. You know, and then you got to come back here and you got to take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. because that series is looming next week. But I did want to talk about Saturday with Nolan McLean. Um, gets his first major league win, pitched pretty damn well despite the 4 walks, which I don't know what. Listen, can we take a time out here? I don't know what the fuck is going on with these walks. Like, what are they? What is happening in this pitching lab that these guys are walking the ballpark? And even McLean comes up and he walked 4 on Saturday. That kind of
Because you explained the pitching lab to me at the beginning. Because it's not
yeah
that I wasn't familiar. You just went a little bit in depth,
yeah
and this is where the sometimes 0-2 doesn't always call for something that you know 0-2. He's 85% to throw his changeup here. You know what I'm saying? No,
yeah
you just threw 2 fastballs, and the guy wasn't close to any one of them. What should you throw next?
a fastball,
Another fastball.
but they don't do that.
But they don't do that. And that's the problem. When you're trying to pinpoint these pitches, when your percentage is higher for wherever you created these numbers from and got them from, and you throw them, I think this is what creates the walks. Honestly, that's what I believe.
I agree, and I think there was one broadcast that this guy brought up with Darling, because obviously we know, for those who are unaware, Ron Darling is one of the SNY announcers on TV, and he used to be a pitcher, pretty decent pitcher. And I think that conversation came up about, do you think the analytics are what's biting them in the ass? He didn't. Gary Cohen didn't say that, but it's hurting them because what Lee J just said. If I'm throwing 95 miles an hour up in the zone past his guys and they are not close, why am I nibbling outside with a changeup on 0-2 to get him to swing? Just fucking do another fucking fastball.
You got to 0-2, and now you want to get cute.
Right. Yes, exactly.
There's no reason to get cute. Yeah, you should maybe throw one in the dirt, maybe throw one outside, but then you come right back to what got you to 0-2.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're on base. And a lot of these walks, if you're watching, of course we are, happen with 2 outs.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
If there's 2 outs and no one on base, like my grandfather always said, attack. If you're up 4-0 and there's no one on base and there's 2 outs, they can't tie the game with a home run.
Right.
So who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? It's being too cute, man. It's being too cute, and it's bothersome to watch this because there's a lot of walks happening, and you're right. It is crazy. It is crazy.
What did you guys, Eric, I'll go to you first. Did you watch the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I did.
I'll go to you first about McLean. What were you impressed by the most with him on Saturday?
I was impressed with the fact that he didn't look kind of like when we're gonna get into the Giants later. He looked like he belonged. You know, he's not one of these rookies that are scared when you can see it in their eyes when a rookie comes up to pitch. He wasn't scared at all, and he was going after the walks is a different story, but for the most part, he was peppering those fastballs in. So yeah, I'm really impressed. I mean, the guy, and they talked about, you were at the game, so you didn't see it, but they were talking about on the broadcast how it brought a little energy to the dugout.
Interesting. Okay.
Having a new
I
face,
didn't see that. Yeah.
having a new face in there brings the energy to the dugout. Especially after that backhanded play he did for that double play. Everybody was going crazy in the dugout. So you need sometimes that little shot in the arm to get the team to the next level, and hopefully, it's like I said, good step in the right direction.
Lee J.
And people always ask this question. You've been, when they ask former players on the radio, whatever interviews, do you guys as players go against the coach's decision or the manager's decision because it's not the right one? And a lot of these pitching decisions that Mendoza has made throughout the year, and the players will probably say no. But here, and to Eric's point just now, here's how you know they're lying, to how they react to McLean.
Yeah.
Exactly how they know what's going on, and you keep on putting this shit on the mound, and here we are. We got a boost of energy. This kid, he looked unbothered. He looked like, all right, I threw a ball. He was patting his glove a couple times because he was pissed. Give me the ball back. That's what you want to see. Whether he gets hit or not, he wanted the ball back. The confidence that exudes to the hitter. Sometimes the hitter's like, I'm effed.
Mhm.
I'm effed. You know what I'm saying? And we could agree to disagree, and I could see it both ways, but I definitely don't think he should have been pulled out of that game. You started with him, you should have gave him at least another batter. And Keith and Ron said it.
Yep.
Gary was like, "So how long's his leash?" Keith was like, His leash is forever. Have you seen our bullpen?"
Yeah. He said, "Have you seen us the last 16 games?" That's
And
exactly
Ron
what
and Ron Donner was like, "I
That's
totally
funny.
agree." He said that his leash should be very long.
That's funny.
He says, "I don't care about pitch count. I don't care about any of that. This kid should not be taken out of they should not take him out of the game." So even they don't have confidence in the bullpen. And these are
Yeah.
the experts. These are the guys
Yeah.
that see the Mets every day, pre-game, post-game, during the game. They're there. They're former Mets. Gary's been announcing forever. So I think that's part of it too.
One thing I will go ahead, Eric. You can
No,
say yeah.
I was going to say another thing about the broadcast that they mentioned was, and
Mm.
this is hitting related. What have we talked about in this podcast? Pick a guy for third base and run with it, right?
Yeah.
So Mauricio was up and he was swinging at some high balls, some high fastballs. Keith says when Mauricio was playing on a daily basis, he was more patient.
Mm.
He was way more patient. He wasn't swinging at the low balls or high balls or anything. But now that he's not playing much, you start to see that. Goes back to what we said all this time. Pick a guy for third
Pick a
base,
guy. I don't
and
care
that's
who you
it.
pick, whether I like him or not. Pick a guy. Look
Yeah.
at Vientos yesterday, rotting on the bench again. And he comes and hits a 3-run bomb. Little League field or not, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. That's where they chose to play. Major League Baseball agreed to this. I couldn't care less. You got you there's too much rotation, especially between the third. Forget about every other position, because Mullins probably won't be here next year. Taylor won't be here next year. McNeil probably won't be here. Let's stick to these three young guys at third base. There's too much of a rotation. They can't. There's no consistency between them. You can't find your future third baseman if none of them are getting a real opportunity. They're just going by who's hot. All right, he's hot. He's cold now. He goes to the bench. It can't be that way.
It's a yeah, that's a problem. That's definitely
But they've admitted that's what they're doing.
right.
Mendoza's even admitted we
Well-
go with the hot guy. You can't win like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're doing that because they're desperate for a consistent flow on offense. By the way, I just checked out. There has no news on Alvarez yet. By the way, people who were not watching the game last night, Alvarez hurt his thumb sliding into second base, and of course I'm screaming at the fucking TV to slide head first, but feet first, but what the fuck do I
And
know?
the another problem that's not fair to the players, and Vientos gets this a lot. They'll put the camera on him. Oh, he doesn't look involved. They said, what you expect the kid to do, man? Like, not to be biased, because I really like Vientos a lot. I've talked about it a lot. I'm always talking about him. Since Joe Walter was here, he's gotten the shit end of the stick, man. I don't care what anyone says. He's come up, he's hit game-winning home runs, been sent right back down. Come up, did it again, sent right back down.
Yep.
If no one got injured last year, he wouldn't have gotten his opportunity to do what he did. He carried the Mets in the playoffs. Let's not forget about that. So you know what? Yes, did he go out to a slow start? Then he wound up getting hurt. Then there was a part where he was actually doing really well, and then he got benched again. It's like these things keep on happening to him, but for what reason? It doesn't make sense to me. And you keep on giving the guys that really go on long slumps, they keep continuing to get the opportunities. That shit, it doesn't make sense to me. But with that being said, they got to pick somebody and stick with it, man. You can't keep on going into every year rotating three guys at third base and second base. It doesn't make sense to me. You're not going to get any continuity out of that position if you don't pick a guy.
Yeah, I think, and it goes back to like opening day when you asked us, what would your perfect Mets lineup be? And I wanted Vientos to hit second because you have sandwiching him in between Lindor and Soto will get him more pitches to hit. You put him at the bottom of the order, he's not going to get nothing to hit, absolutely nothing. And then, like Lee J said, he goes 0 for 4, couple games in a row. Boom, sit down, Mauricio, you come in. Mauricio gets a little hot. Switch it, Beatty. Come on, it's too much.
And it's not a short stint. It's like 7. This most recent one, he sat like 7 games or something, 8 games.
It's a lot. Yeah.
There's a people that play baseball. We've played. There's a flow to it. You need whether you're pinch hitting or every other day start. You need something. Just sitting on the bench, and then we expect you to come in and come through on a bases loaded 2-out situation. That's not the way. That's not the way baseball works. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
So jumping off of that, because one thing I did want to talk about, because I was in my bag last week when they were going through this this streak, whatever the fuck it was, and this was before we knew that Lee J was going to join. Um, I had told Eric, let's think of like 3 things each that we want to see them do differently, either next year, a player they should get, or a position they need to improve. Because I think, regardless, and I know Lee J gave me some shit about this on text, I think this team is going to look a lot different next year, regardless of what happens this year. And I said that last year, and it kind of did look, it kind of does look different from last year. So that being said, and I think I know where Lee J, one of your things is probably, you need to decide between Vientos, Beatty, Mauricio, and Acuna what you're gonna do at
Brother.
third base and probably at second base
And,
as well.
and you got to include Alonso in that, because there's rumors of Vientos. They could, if they move on from him,
Right.
They'll keep Vientos and he could play first base.
Right. Yeah.
You can't keep all these guys. I hate to keep on being a dead horse and we keep on being repetitive, but you have all infielders in the minor leagues.
Look, the guy that
So unless you have some plan to teach them how to play the outfield, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and the guy they just called, what the guy that got, what are the guys that got promoted? Ryan Clifford. Guess what he plays?
First base, no?
First base.
Yeah.
And outfield too, left field. Eric, what do you want to see?
We pretty much discussed it already. My number 3 was pick a guy for third base.
Yeah.
That was my number 3. I have it right here. My number 1, and I don't care what he did last night, I want Clay Holmes in the bullpen. I want him in the bullpen because he can't, 4 innings, 5 at the most he could give you. And this is the most innings he's pitched in his career. So it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. He's going to be throwing up, wiffle balls there, and they're going to be bombing him.
We've seen him the last, I would say, 7 to 8 starts. He tops out he barely makes it to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you could have this guy, if you know you're going to get a good 4 out of this guy, and every now and then you have a reliever bomb, he comes in and solidifies those middle innings, that's a better position for him. This guy's not a starter, man. I'm sorry. I don't care who thinks that. They're wrong. He gives up too many walks. He's another one with the 2-out walks.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much, man. He belongs in. You tried it. It didn't work. God bless you. Back to the bullpen for you.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get better as the years go along. As far as becoming a starter, he's not gonna lengthen his innings as he gets older. That's not the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mets were also an organization that, we always had these guys that were middle relief, but always wanted to start. Seth Lugo, first one comes to my mind, and they never gave him an opportunity. And I always thought he deserved an opportunity. Jose Budo was kind of like that a little bit when he first came up here.
Yeah.
But Clay Holmes, he hadn't been a starter since his Pittsburgh days, and you threw the bag at him to be a starter. It didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I agree with Eric 100%. He belongs in the bullpen. He's not a starter.
Yeah, I think especially now there's only 38 games left in the season. Now's the time to do it. But that being said, if you're going to put him in the bullpen, Sprout has to be called up.
Right.
Call up Sprout. Put 2 rookies in the rotation, because you can't, again, Minaya again, 4 innings. Senga again, how much did he do? 5? It's like, come on, Clay Holmes is looking worse because our first 2 aces, and I'm doing that in air quotes.
Yeah.
They don't even make 4 or 5 innings. I was listening to the radio the other day. We were like, if Minaya gives me 4 good innings, I'm good. It's like, what?
And Will knows this, and I'm not here to tap myself on the back. Before this year started, I told Will, I'm not a fan of Senga. I'm not a fan of Minaya.
No, it's crazy.
Senga had a good rookie year. Minaya had a decent year last year. But these guys are not who you're paying them to be. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
also
sorry.
heard they said Minaya has a dead arm. Dude, you just came back. You haven't pitched in months. What do you mean you got a dead arm?
That doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Get outta
Oh
here.
my God. What was your number 2 on your list, by the way?
Call up Sprout.
Call up Sprout.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Clay Holmes bullpen 1, call up Sprout 2, and pick a guy at third base. And that's the thing is like at this point, who knows if they do like call up Sprout, bring up put Holmes in the bullpen, whether it works or not. Maybe that's something to do next year. I tell you what though, next year I want to see McLean, Sprout, and Tong in this rotation.
Oh, they will be. They've already said it. Like I saw, but don't forget, you know who else is out there we don't talk about? Because he got hurt? Christian Scott.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
You know? I mean, I know he didn't pitch all that well when he came up, but this again, I think the rotation next year is going to look a lot different. So that's like my biggest thing. The pitching, I think the pitching will be there next year. I really do. I really do believe that. Here's my one thought. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. What do you think about Kyle Schwarber?
For the
He's
Mets,
going to be
no.
a free agent.
No, I pass.
No.
Nah, I pass.
I don't want
I
that.
don't. You
Not
want
for
Kyle
DH.
Schwarber? You want Schwarber? You might as well keep Alonso. And then if
But
you
you
want
would have Schwarber at DH and Alonso at first. You
now
don't
you're
think
talking
they
about
can-
moving Vientos to first base, and you want
Fuck,
to
you're
put
not-
Alonso at DH.
Fuck no, you're not keeping.
If you sign Alonso in the next year or two, honestly, he should be your DH.
Yeah, he has to sign at the end of the year because he has a player option. He's not opting in, so he's gonna be a free agent again.
Yeah,
He's gonna be a free agent again.
So you think at some point, if they do sign Alonso to a long-term deal, he's gonna have to transition to DH at some point.
That'll probably be on the table.
Yeah.
I could see
and,
that.
and get yourself like a defensive first baseman. Why not? Get yourself a guy that's going to bat for average and be good defensively.
I do think though one thing they need to get settled is the DH position. They need somebody like a Schwarber that you're gonna be able to pencil in every day to be the DH because this Marte shit does not work.
Yeah, he'll be gone.
He's gone.
He's gonna be gone. But I know. But I'm just saying, having guys like Marte and having guys like Vientos and having guys like McNeil be the DH does not work for me. You need a guy to come in that's gonna hit you 25 to 30 home runs to be that guy.
Well, if it goes back to picking a third baseman, then Vientos could be your DH. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, make Vientos your DH and put Mauricio or Beatty at third. Pick one guy in that position. That's what it comes down to. All the time.
That's a good point.
Because as long as they're playing consistently, I think they'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of playing for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to your point about the starting rotation looking different, it can't look different to the way Stearns wants to look different. It looks different last year to this year because he's hell bent on not signing starters to this amount of money.
Yeah.
But there's a reason I asked you that question: why was he hired when they were going after Yamamoto?
Yeah, he was.
You were willing to give this guy the bag, but no one else. And that's where I don't know. It's weird to me, which is why I asked that question.
I honestly don't. So you're thinking that Stearns should have gone off after Yamamoto?
No, weren't they going after him? What I'm saying is he's a big person of not going and signing these guys right to these long starting pitches. They were going to do it with Yamamoto, who's not proven here, and he's actually not doing the best here in America.
Yeah,
but you were willing to give him the bag and not a pitcher that's been proven here to be an ace. The Mets need at least one ace that goes, you know what? If they go, listen, losing streaks happen during the year in every sport. But 5-game losing streaks happen, 6 games losing streaks happen in baseball. It happens. You need that guy to get the ball and say, I'm going to stop this fucking losing streak right now because I'm an ace.
Yeah.
We know who the aces are.
Here's my answer to that. And I'm not saying this is the right answer. And we talked about this last week. I think he thinks that one of these kids is going to be the ace. It's going to be either Sprout.
That's fine.
Tong,
my point is, if that's what you feel, that's not what you're telling us because they're still in the minor leagues.
Right. Yes, you're
McClain
right.
was called up to me by default.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I'm
You're right.
talking about a good ace nowadays. You don't have to give them $300 million. You could give them a shorter contract with more money. They'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with a player option, they'll take it. If you're giving them more salary, they're going to take it. But they're an ace. Shawn Mania ain't it. Kodai Singer ain't it. I'm sorry. They're just not. Griffin, who was cute at the beginning, he ain't it either.
I
So
totally
if you're
forgot
going to go
about
to
him.
one of these kids, they got to be in that starting rotation. F it, all three of them. Just like they did Isringhausen, Pulsifer years ago. Granted, Stearns. But guess what? To credit or not, we didn't know that. These kids
Right.
were
No,
lighting
I
it up in
know.
the
Yeah.
minor leagues.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? We're bringing all three of them up. Wilson, Pulsifer, Isringhausen. It just didn't work out. Isringhausen had a better career later on as a closer. Pulsifer didn't fizzle out, and Wilson didn't fizzle out. But you know what? They said, F it. Let's go now. Let's try. You, these kids are already in their mid-20s. When are you going to decide when they're 28 years old? Who cares?
Yeah. I already see what Stearns is going to do. He's not going to sign an ace, but you got enough prospects to trade for one in the offseason. You sure do.
Well, here's it's funny you bring that up because Mr. James Buckley, who Lee J, you weren't on when I shouted him out, the guy who left the comment on the YouTube, he said this was his quote, and I shared this with Lee J because they could have gotten this guy. The guy, this is what he says: the guy we should have gotten in the offseason was Crochet. Sprout and Williams could have got him. It was a better deal. It was better than the Red Sox package. Crochet will either win or be runner up to the Scooble in the AL Cy Young. And I know we talked about my response
I
to
was
him
all
is
in on him.
yeah.
Him
But
and
we know, yeah.
what was the other guy? I can't remember his name right now.
Corbin
And I
Burns.
think he mentioned another guy that I was like, yo, why don't we go after him? Because you know what? He got the same contract as Mania, and he's way more proven. That's Nate Eovaldi.
Oh, Native Aldi, yeah.
Right.
And he's ripping it up again this year for Texas.
Yeah.
If, like I said, if us as fans see this, why don't you? It's
The
almost
o-
like you're hell bent on sticking to this thing that doesn't work. So you're not wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Everyone takes an L in their life.
The one thing that we did say about the whole White Sox thing is because we think that Reinsdorf hates Cohen and didn't
Which
want
could
to do
be,
business.
which I don't. We talked about that. I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, like we said, Reinsdorf is an idiot, and you would do something like that. You're just an idiot,
Right.
Yeah. It could be
You're
true.
looking at it as to spite him, as
Yeah.
opposed to improve your team. You're just a moron.
Yeah. It could be true, but just like that gentleman said, you throw some top A prospects in front of Reinsdorf's face, he's gonna go back to his GM and they're gonna compare packages and they'll be like, I know you don't like Steve Cohen, but look, we get
Right.
It's true.
but we're
Somebody got
getting
to
these
jump
two
in and stop
guys.
this guy, save him from himself.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Keith and who maybe it was Keith. I don't know. Maybe it was an SNY broadcast. I don't know. Maybe it was on the ESPN, and they mentioned it. The prospects the Mets have in their farm system right now are not only Mets prospects. These are Major League Baseball prospects, meaning that Major League Baseball has them ranked high.
Right.
Mhm.
They do. Yeah.
So it's not just us to where you could say, oh, we didn't give up anything. And you could say, well, we don't know what that other team saw in that player, which is why they traded for him. No, these are major league prospects. So everyone sees them essentially at the same level, top 50, top 30, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's not made up. So if there's 10, you would think half of them would hit. You got to figure out what's the half you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to say about this particular Mets?
Let's move on.
I'm not even
Hey,
say
yo,
the
Mr.
word,
Cohen, you called out the Met fans like I told you, stay out of our pockets. We showing up now, bitch. Let's get it going.
All right. Pete Alonso. Another quick Mets topic here, but I think it's worth having this discussion separately. So last Tuesday, he broke the franchise home run record when he hit. Not only did he hit 253, but he also hit 254. I checked the exit velocity on that because it was a fucking scorcher. 112.8 miles per hour. Hardest hit ball of the night. I felt like that home run itself kind of exemplified Alonso because as much as he hits fucking bombs, he's also known for hitting these fucking like that particular home run, like that line drive the opposite way. And you always feel like when he's going well, that's what he's supposed to do, hit the ball the other way with authority. So, anyway, apparently, for those who are unaware, there were some people who had a problem with the Mets celebrating Alonso breaking the record, particularly a man who is well known to all three of us, Mr. Christopher Mad Dog Russo.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Danny Hernandez, your brother.
Who apparently went on a fucking rant. I didn't watch the rant.
He sounded like such an idiot.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was upset about the Mets, first of all, making a big deal about this. And you guys can correct me. I think it was also because why are you making a big deal out of this when you guys are playing the way you were at that moment in time? Don't forget. And even now, it's when the Mets are not out of it. Here's the thing.
Real quick, he also said that no one had any idea that was going on.
Yeah. That's bullshit.
That's how much disconnected he is.
That's bullshit. Because if you were a Mets fan,
people
were bringing like the number signs. Oh, the next one, 250, whatever, 250.
Stuff like that is regional.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for him to say
which
that,
goes to baseball. Yeah. Baseball's regional.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you went in there into Citi Field and you asked a Mets fan that question, they didn't know, then they're not a Mets fan.
Right.
Every Mets fan knew what was going on. So, he's disconnected from, a lot of shit.
Well, I'm not surprised considering, he's Mr. fucking ESPN now. So, fuck him. But here's the thing I don't understand. And this is my biggest issue with this whole thing. And I saw other people. By the way, I saw Braves fans. Listen, guys, I don't care if you're listening because you're here because of Eric. Fuck you. Okay? Because I saw one Braves fan be like, well, I'm a Braves fan and blah, 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 but it's only 200 and something home runs. Yes, but that's the fucking what the record is.
That's what the Mets record is. It's not the major league record. God. I mean, that's not a hello. That's not a thing. When it's a team record, that's not a thing.
Exactly. But so let me get to my biggest issue. What Russo said was, "Oh, why are we celebrating this when they're not playing well?" Here's my answer to that: why can't you do both? Why can't you do both? Why can't you celebrate a milestone that Mets fans have been counting down for a while? And one of the reasons why Alonso came back was because he wanted to break that record for the team. That was one of the reasons why he came back. He talked about that. You can acknowledge the record while also being like, yeah, the Mets are playing like shit right now. But you know what? Let's celebrate this cool thing that happened in front of a sold-out fucking crowd against the Braves and a blowout. He got a nice ovation from the crowd. Gary Cohen had a great fucking call. Why I don't understand why we cannot celebrate the fact that this man, who for some reason people have a problem with him, I don't know why. I don't understand why he's hated the way he is. Why can't we just celebrate it for one fucking night? And then they did the pregame ceremony on Thursday, which was very nice. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I don't know. Eric, what do you any thoughts on this whole thing as Mets fans who have seen so many people come through this organization and watch the likes of Strawberry and Piazza and Wright and Hojo? Like, it was a moment to be celebrated as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the three guys that I was going to talk about because I had one of my coworkers ask me after the home run. He goes, "It's like, man, that's kind of a low number for a franchise, right?" And I said, "Yeah, but you got to understand the history of the Mets. Strawberry at the time held that record, but he left to get more money. He left to get out of here because the ownership at the time didn't want to pay him. Piazza
in LA, I heard.
Yeah. Piazza
allegedly. I'm sorry.
Piazza came to us midway through his career.
Right.
And then David Wright, unfortunately, got hurt. So
Yeah.
after I explained that to him, he's like, okay, that kind of makes some sense. But, the Mets have never been blessed with a guy that stays the whole time besides Wright, and he got hurt. So, the Mets have never been blessed with, even with pitching. The Mets franchise is known for pitching, but Tom Seaver left because of stupid ownership. And then he didn't get his 300th win with us and none of that stuff. And I could name Dwight Gooden. Obviously, we know what happened with him. But these people that are not Met fans that are butting in, like Chris Mad Dog Russo, that dude is so out of touch, is unbelievable. Like, he don't know.
Yeah, he's out of touch, man.
He don't know what's going on. And you could tell he's out of touch by his references. Like, he talks about Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. And, dude, those guys played hundreds of years ago, man.
And
yeah, exactly. So.
Hello? Is this Lou Gehrig?
Oh, jeez.
Hello? Get the fuck out of here. What a dope.
And that's all his references are always, and, Lee J, you listen to Boomer and Gio, they make fun of him all the time about that. About these references.
Yeah, Gio does the voice. That shit's hilarious.
Yeah.
He impersonates him. He does that shit so good.
Oh, it's hilarious. Wee Willie Keeler and all of this bullshit. Come on. He's so out of touch. I'm not even worried about him. But it's just, perfect example. After I explained that to my coworker, he said, "Okay, now I understand why." Because
your coworker, is he from Atlanta?
No, he moved out here. He's from Texas. He's from Texas.
So you see that's to our point.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, is like, once I explained that to him, he said, "Okay, that makes sense. I get it." Because he sees, now that he moved here to Atlanta, he has kind of took the Braves on as his team. And he sees 755 from Hank Aaron, and he's like, man.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
755.
Yeah.
What?
But,
that's 500 home runs more.
Yeah. At least after I explained it to him, he understood.
At least he understood. So
yeah.
I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
But you're going to question it if you're not a Mets fan, because
exactly.
It doesn't sound,
And that's what people were doing, I feel like.
I think Chris,
go ahead.
I'm not a fan of Chris Russo. I hate his voice. He's annoying to me. But I want to try to be fair. He's been around this business a long time.
He has. Fair. That is fair.
And he knows, even though it's not his team, he knows of these things that are going on.
Yeah.
Okay, unless he's really just stupid. Then if he's really stupid, then you know what? I give him even more credit then. Because I feel like you're just saying things for clicks, and he's been in this game too long to get to say things for clicks. It doesn't make sense to me. You get what I'm saying?
New York. Yeah, he lives in New York. He
right?
know.
Yes, it doesn't make sense. At that point, the Mets could have been 0 and 100. Granted, it would not have been celebrated the same. We would not have had the same feel. We could all agree with that, but it still would have been celebrated. Every record, whether your team is having a bad season or a good season, it's celebrated. I've seen it happen with the Knicks, with the Mets in other years. Other records were celebrated, and they weren't always good. They just happened to be in a losing streak. Listen, guys, it was going to be celebrated. That's it. They've been talking about this since last year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah,
they started seeing the trajectory of him hitting and how many home runs he was hitting.
Right.
So they knew it. They matter of fact, they probably even started talking about it. What was his rookie year when he hit the 50 something home runs or whatever it was?
Yeah.
They started talking about it then.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know. It's just stupid. But I wanted to talk briefly about what you were saying about fans and just people outside noise about these weird feelings they have about Alonso.
It's weird.
I feel like they create these narratives from year to year. Listen, the guy is goofy, man. He's a dork. Sometimes he sounds, I don't want to say stupid because that's not, he just sounds uncomfortable during interviews. So maybe he says the wrong thing. You could tell he's uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to say, maybe.
He might be on the spectrum. Who knows?
Right? Jesus Christ.
It's true.
But you know what? The guy has gotten progressively better with his defense. They still pick on his defense. Now you're just talking. If you tell me that his defense has not gotten better since he's been in the league, you're an idiot and you don't watch baseball, right? So what was the narrative last year? Why they didn't sign him? What was a lot of fans saying? Get rid of him. We don't need him. 220 hitter. only hits 20-something home runs, right? That was a narrative,
Yes, it was.
right? Get rid of him, ba 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 ba. Now he got the contract, little short 1-year contract with an option, whatever. He's proven himself again. Now it's coming up. He's too old. Again, he can't play defense. You know what was happening at 28 years old when he was putting up numbers? He was getting old. Either way, he was getting old. So it's like, it's just weird. The stuff that's said about this guy and how people feel about him. But he produces. All of a sudden, average matters. 2 years ago, people were telling me average don't matter. Home runs was what matters. And everything changes from year to year just to fit whatever they want to talk about, which is why I don't listen to any of that stuff, because it changes from year to year what they want to count and what they don't want to count. You know what I'm saying? And it's just whatever. Down goes straw.
Yeah, that got some people riled up. Eric, what do you make of this narrative? And I know people in Atlanta fucking love Taboo Alonso. What do you make of this narrative that people just, for whatever reason, he gets hate? I don't know what it is. It's weird.
It's weird, man. It's because I honestly think if he was playing in another city, it wouldn't be as bad. I honestly
so
think that. Like if he's in Kansas City hitting these bombs, everybody loves him. You know, or something like that. I just think it's
real quick, Eric, real quick. Why come everybody, when they says if he was in another city, the first city that everyone says is Kansas City? You notice that? It's weird, bro. Because I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say Kansas City. Anyway, go ahead.
I just think it's a New York thing. I also think that again, you went back to like his character is kind of like a goofy character and stuff like that. I don't see why you hate somebody for being that. I rather have a goofy athlete than have a jackass of an athlete where he thinks
Jeter.
John Rocker.
John
Rocker.
Exactly.
But Atlanta loved him for that. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
They adored that guy.
Yeah.
What about Papelbon, another jackass?
Exactly. And I also think one other thing too, and this is so stupid, but I think the way he appears, like kind of slightly overweight, a little chubby, doesn't look like the typical athlete in a uniform, you know. But you know who looks like a great athlete? Giancarlo Stanton, and he's always hurt. So you know,
he's an Adonis. He's an Adonis. He's chiseled.
But you're right. He's always hurt though.
But he's always hurt. So I honestly think that has a little bit to do with it as well. Like the typical athlete nowadays.
That's interesting.
You know what's funny about that? Tiki Barber commented on that last week. And you see Tiki, really? He's 50 years old. He's in shape. This guy's like another Adonis. He said he met Pete Alonso in person, and that narrative, he doesn't know where that came from. He said his body is nothing like what you see. Is not. He said his heart. You calling him frumpy, fat, and oval. He said he's not that. He's he's like a linebacker's body.
You know where that narrative came from? I think there was that one game last year where they ripped off his shirt.
Because he got no six pack. Big deal.
This guy's got a dad bod.
And the crazy thing is, besides that game, Tiki Barber said that's not how his body is. He said that's not his body. For whatever reason, however the TV shows it, whoever created the narrative, he said he met him for the first time up close and personal, and his body's not like that.
Listen, we grew up watching guys like Steve Balboni. That dude,
Steve Balboni, Jesus, John Kruk,
Rob Deere. Those guys. Those are some big dudes.
Dead? I'm not sure.
You know, Pete Alonso, like you said, he's kind of almost like a linebacker type body, but because he doesn't have a six pack, people say, he's frumpy.
I'll say this: Pete Alonso's in a lot better shape than a lot of us.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny too because you look at Kyle Raleigh. That guy looks like Pete Alonso too. He's got like the same kind of body type.
But he's loved because he's in Seattle. Nobody talks about him.
Yeah, that's
what I mean.
That's true. By the way, I have to say I was a little upset that I did not get to see him hit a home run on Saturday.
Yeah, he took a big dumper all over the Mets this series, except for Saturday.
Did you guys see somebody had him sign a toilet seat?
I saw that.
No.
I love that. Okay, one last question about this before we move on. Go with your gut on this. Go with your heart. I don't know which one you guys want to go with. Lee J, I'll ask you first. I think I know what your answer is to this. Does he stay? Does he finish his career in New York?
I'm sticking to my guns.
Ah!
Pete Alonso won't be here next year, and I just think this is a Stearns thing, and I can't figure it out.
Damn. Eric?
Yeah, it's a hard one, man. I'm 50-50 on it because all it takes is one other team. Last year he didn't have that team to really want him. That Toronto, that was BS. That was more to get Vladimir Guerrero to sign. But all it takes is one team, man, whether it be Kansas City or any other team out there that's willing to put some money in front of Pete Alonso. Now, again, Pete Alonso is a born and raised Met, so maybe adding to this record, maybe that's something that he wants to do. But what scares me is that other team is maybe in there looming, and Scott Boras. Scott Boras may put like in his head, he's like, they didn't want to sign you last year. Now you had this good year. Stick it to them. You know how Boras is just all about the money.
Fuck that guy.
He got Montez 2 years for 40.
Oh my God. I want to know who was knocking on Montez's door, giving him that contract.
No one, because everyone knows how he was, but this guy gave it to him.
Unbelievable.
So here's my thing. This is what I think was going to happen. I think the big boss is going to step in and be like, no, I don't give a shit what your analytics say. I think Cohen's going to be the deciding factor here. I really do. I think he's going to step in and swing his big dick and be like, listen, I'm sorry. I don't care what your department says, but we are keeping Pete Alonso. We're going to give him as much money as he wants. That's what I think is going to happen.
I see what you're saying, but I only saw him doing that for two players, and that was Soto, which he got, and Yamamoto.
Okay.
I don't even see Cohen doing that for Alonso. Stearns is going to convince him. He's 31, going to be 32. He's just power, low average. His defense is going to be on the decline. This is all things I hear Stearns saying because he's a hater.
By the way, he's 30 right now. He turns 31 in December. So don't make him older than what he is.
No, but by time it comes around, he's going to be going, like I said, he'll be going on 32. If you want to give him a lengthy contract.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, and these are all things I can hear his little rat face saying. Fucking weasel.
Wow. Okay.
He's a weasel. He looks like a rat for a reason. Because he's a rat. Ratatouille.
All right. But I don't know where that's coming from.
Hold on. Before we move on, last week I called out Lindor for playing better. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's playing good.
Yeah. National League Player of the Week. I forgot to mention that.
Yep.
Hey, but you know what though? The thing is as the Mets, as he goes, the Mets go.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
All right.